So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down my 3 most used lighteners in the salon, and I'm going to be talking about when I use them and why I use them. If you are new to Schwarkopf products, you might want to stick around for this video because it's really going to help you to build your confidence in working with this product. Stick around. Well, what's up guys? I'm Maureen Moody and I'm the Curious Stylist, and I want to build your confidence in your career through education and science. So if you're curious, stick around. About 5 years ago, I started working with Schwarkopf hair care line. And I had never heard of Schwarkopf before until I got into this particular salon. And it was intimidating because there were so many different products to be used. And I was at a loss, to be honest with you. There was a lot. The number system was a little confusing for me in the beginning, and because it's an international number system. And now I get it. It's wonderful. But at the same time, in the beginning, it's confusing. And then there was, for years I didn't use Blonde Me because I was afraid to use that. I'm gonna go into when I use certain lighteners and why I use them so that you can shorten the time that you have with feeling a little like a fish out of water. So the first lightener that I wanna talk about, and I think I've said this in a video before, is the Agora Vario Super Bond Plus. Now, this has up to 8 levels of lift, and you are supposed to mix it as a 1-to-1 lightener. They recommend it for 10, 20, and 30 volume. Do not use this with 40 volume. You don't really need to. If you want to up the strength, you might want to decrease the amount of developer. So 30 grams of powder, I will use like 55 grams of developer. So it's a little bit thicker and it's a little more intense. The lightener will work a little bit stronger. I don't like to do, I would never mix this 1-to-1, and I might do 1 to 1.5, but I would never mix it 1-to-1. This is a really strong lightener, and it does give a nice lift. I use this on 80% of my blondes. It does the job, and it does it well. What I really like about this lightener is that when you mix it up and you apply it to the head, it will stay there. It stays put. It does not slip. It does not heat up and bleed. I've never had problems with bleed white. So because the lightener is white, it does, when I'm checking my blondes, I get a real good read on how blonde the hair is. So you can really see, and you don't have to work through it. Or the Vario Blonde, but that's just super, but not super plus. It has a blue cast to it when you are working with it. And so I find that it's hard for me to look, to see what the true read of the blonde is, if that makes sense, because the blue is sort of getting in the way and it looks not quite as yellow. So for years, right after I started working at the salon, they came out with this particular lightener, and I was like, well, it's got 8 levels of lift, and instead of 7, I'm sticking with that. And it hasn't failed me. I really love this. But with but there is a place for the Vario Bond Plus. All the girls that I work with love that lightener, except for 1 or 2, and they stick with that because it's what they're used to. What I don't like about that lightener is, for me, it's hard for me to tell exactly what the shade of that blonde is because of the blue cast or the lightener. It makes it hard for me to determine exactly if it's lifted enough. I find it hard to read through. I am starting to use it more, and I'm liking it for when I'm doing a foliage and the girl's hair is already lightened, but I want to bump it up a little bit more, if you know what I'm talking about. That's already been highlighted but could handle a little bit more. So the next one I'm talking about is the Blonde Me Clay Lightener. So I find this to be an amazing clay lightener, extremely powerful. You can use it 1 to 1.5 or 1 to 2. I use it a lot of times with 40 volume. I know that sounds crazy, but when you mix 40 volume and you're using it open air, it's not gonna lift exactly the same. And a lot of times when I'm working with people, if I'm applying to hair that's already been highlighted or lightened, I don't cover that hair quite as much. And I've never had a problem with this lightener. It has been really good. Now, some fun little bonus. One of my favorite tips. Can you do me a favor? If you are finding value in this content, please smash the like button and subscribe. I make weekly videos. One of my favorite tips for when using this lightener and you want to bump it up, especially around the hairline, you want to get it a little bit more, maybe 8 levels of lift instead of just 7. You can mix a little bit of the traditional Blonde Me, you could do 1 part Blonde Me to 2 parts Blonde Me Clay Lightener, or you could even mix half and half. I wouldn't go more than that because the thing about Blonde Me Clay Lightener is it doesn't swell. That clay in there helps to stop the lightener and it doesn't swell. But I'll tell you, I've used different lighteners before, clay lighteners, for balayage, and let me tell you, This one is very strong. It works really well. I like it a lot. I've actually used Joico Free Play for many years before this came out, and I really like that one. And if you want me to do a video where I talk about the differences between the two lighteners, drop a comment below and I'd be happy to take care of that for you. So last but not least, this lightener. Blonde Me is a great lightener. This one has up to 9 levels of lift. I did an entire video on that, which I'm gonna link up here. That lightener is really nice because it will lift up to 9 levels for some people. It doesn't do it for everybody, but it does do it for a good amount. When I am doing foils, I like to mix this 1 to 1.5. I find that it gives me the right consistency, so I feel like it sticks better. So I hope that you found this video to be helpful, and if you did, please subscribe or just like the video.